Hello, you lovely listeners. I'm Amy. Welcome to the Really Good Conversations podcast, where we will delve into the minds of the business people we have met in the process of launching our first card game. We will be uncovering their secrets to success, their biggest mistakes, and sharing the key lessons they have picked up en route. So, if you're looking for an engaging chinwag mixed with business insights and a good pinch of fun, you're in the right place. Let's have a really good conversation. Hello, Lewis and Rodrick. Thank you so much for joining me on the Really Good Conversations podcast.
Hey, Amy.
Hey.
So you guys are the brains and masters behind the beautiful candle brand, Candlemeleon. I would love to chat to you today all about your journey so far. We met in January at the Top Drawer event. I'd love for you to just tell us a little bit about how this brand has come to life and your backstory to where you are.
Lewis, do you want to take the floor?
I just love the fact that you said brains and masters. It made me feel quite important. I quite like that. Thank you very much. Candlemeleon, where did it come from? I think it was a process. Rodrick and I, individually, we've worked for some of the most influential brands that are probably out in the market at the moment. I think a lot of the companies that we've worked for or worked within are sold across the high street and in international retail and things like that. But we are, I suppose, for the most part, we were kept regimented within our area of expertise. And so we complement each other on that respect, coming from different parts of those types of businesses. We have probably 4 or 5 other ideas we've sampled and tested and have ready to go. But Candlemeleon was the one that stuck out to us as conceptually something that was so different that looked like it should have always been there, that we thought we may be able to penetrate the market in the quickest possible way.
And how long have you been going for now?
So we've been going for 7 months, Amy. So we launched September 2022, and it's been a wild roller coaster from just working at market stalls to going to trade shows, selling our first wholesale to first wholesale customer, and just kind of learning the whole process of having a startup is a journey in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell us a little bit about the name. Where's that come from?
I think it was an amalgamation of several different things that happened all at the same time. And it's come with its own complications at the same time, but complications that we love. I think we've both worked for brands in the past that people haven't been able to pronounce straight off the bat, because ultimately I think as humans in general, we're quite lazy when it comes to reading words. We read the first bit and guess the second bit. And I know some of the brands that I've worked with in the past, people have no idea about how to say them. And so we were really quite conscious of the fact that we wanted a name that once people knew would make sense, but whether they can say it right at the beginning doesn't really matter to us. The amount of times I've stood on the shop floor in Selfridges and people have come and asked me for a brand and I've corrected them with the name of the brand because they said it completely wrong. So it just never fazed me. Candlemeleon, in particular, it had to be descriptive of what it does. And one of the most famous animals that can change color, or things that can change color, being a chameleon, meant that we needed to kind of sandwich that in somewhere. And we did have some other names, which I'm not going to say, just in case we bring out those products later on. But Candlemeleon seemed to, even though it's got a lot of syllables, roll off the tongue and be a staple name that fit the brief.
Yeah, and it does actually, it fits the product perfectly. And, it is a talking point. Obviously, we're all about really good conversations. So it's a conversation starter, isn't it? For you guys.
Amy, I can tell you the really bad conversations is people calling it Candlemeleon, 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 I don't know.
It sounded so foreign in certain places, and it was like rolling off the tongue like a French accent with some people. But it's so simple. It's just candle and chameleon smashed together.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
And what have you been loving so far on this journey over the last 7 months?
The buzz, I think, the energy to see the creation between myself and Lewis come to life. People buying our product, retailers buying our product, good reviews. I think that's the drive and gives us the energy every day to keep on wanting more and more for the brand. And not only creating something that's really unique and disruptive in the candle industry, but just understanding that there's so much scope for where this brand can be. It just kind of, we can't sleep at night sometimes because there's so many ideas that we want to actually make happen, and there's a future for the brand. And I think that's where Lewis and I really like to kind of appreciate every little change in this journey.
I think it's also probably good to note that although we launched 7 months ago, there was a 2-year process prior to that of getting every single element right for the brand. So we've been
That's good to know, because I think obviously we are on a podcast and we've got an allotted amount of time that we want to allocate, and people listening, it's like, oh, this all sounds amazing. But equally, what I'm fascinated by, how and why did they decide to go, yeah, we're going to actually try and give this a go? What made you guys decide that 2 years prior, okay, let's actually do this?
So I think with Lewis and I, we were both passionate about the industry that we worked in, had loads of experience in the fields that we worked in. Like Lewis said at the beginning, there was loads of potential projects that were thought of at the beginning before Candlemeleon. And really the catalyst was just trying to build something that we can take ownership of and really drive that forward. And there was just a chain of events that happened in both our lives that we thought, right, this is the time now to do it. I think during the pandemic, everyone was starting up a business. And we thought, right, this is the right time. And so we did it together.
That's amazing. And I think that is so true. And, even a little bit on our journey as well, it's been a bit organic. It's been a bit passion project. Things have come up where you think, actually, we could give this a go now. And I think also perhaps similar in your world is in the retail space, you're quite led and dictated by timings of seasonal calendar occasions. So Christmas being a key one, and other gifting occasions throughout the year when retailers are buying. And it's kind of like, if we don't get this out now, you then miss another period to do that.
Yeah.
We did meet through doing the top drawer in January. What's been outtakes from doing the trade shows you've done so far this year?
Shall I take this one?
Yeah, go on, Liz.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's fair to note that we'd done our due diligence on Top Drawer 2 years prior to actually launching. It was one of the first things that we took ourselves off on a Sunday morning to go and have a look around and go, okay, the gifting sphere is an interesting kind of route to market. We have a lot of contacts within the world from brands we previously worked at, but we set ourselves not to use those for this project. And so it was when we were trying to create the world of Candlemeleon, it was, okay, let's go and have a look. What are other people doing? And the reasons why we don't want to do that, or the reasons why that's a good idea. Candlemeleon being so different to any other candle that's out there on the market was key, the process. And it was, our thought process was, are we ready? Or are they ready for Candlemeleon? Is the industry ready? And we went to these shows. We missed Top Drawer, which happened about 2 weeks after we launched. And we really wanted to do the September one. It would have been a great start. But with hindsight, sitting here now in April 2023, I think it was the best thing that could have ever happened, because it gave us 4.5 months to really learn language around our product and receptiveness towards it, towards certain variants that ultimately were in our head for most of the time. Yes, we had the samples and we'd done all the testing and all of that, but we had reaction to each of the candles probably slightly different to the reaction that's been in the market today. Like, one of our top sellers is one that we had kind of earmarked specific for a certain demographic of the population, not mass.
Interesting.
It's been really interesting. And one of the ones that we thought was going to be bestseller, it's actually our worst seller.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it is until you do listening to customers. And I think in so many businesses, whether it's product or service, there's a lot of organizations out there that, oh, this is what people want. We'll tell them what they want. But known for a very long time, it's about being that customer centric, listening to them and adapting and evolving based on what customers are buying or feeding back on. And so that is amazing to have that opportunity, to have that insight, and that you guys actually are taking note of that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of taken on our DNA in general, like what we've experienced with working for other brands. So we've taken that experience and knowledge and put that into the business. I think with our product, because it's so niche in itself, Heat Reactive Candles, there is also the education element to the brand where we have to almost tell people what does it do. And I think with Top Drawer, it was kind of almost like a kind of stamp of approval, knowing that retailers and independents were looking at us. Prior to that, when we launched in September, we were at market stalls trying to get the brand out, doing your regular social media launches. Yes, we had customers, but getting our first independent was like godsend. It was like, oh my God, someone actually bought a couple of boxes of our candles, not knowing that there's loads of candle brands at Top Drawer, right?
Yes.
So when we had that buzz, we wanted more, and we understood our product a lot more, hearing that from the retailers themselves and justifying why people are buying our product. So that like the 7-month journey that we're in right now, we've understood the consumer conversations, we've understood the conversations with the retailer, and there's so much more to happen. But I think we're in a good space with Candlemeleon right now.
I'd just like to add to that, Rodrick, because this is how we work. We designed Candlemeleon for the consumer. Rodrick and I have both worked at shop floor level at some point within our careers. And so we wanted to make sure that those touch points were all good. And then Rodrick touched on it just now, is that actually Top Drawer gave us the validation that not only did we hit all of the customer touch points, we'd hit all of the retailer touch points with our product as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we felt similar by going and literally exposing yourselves and standing there next to your product, and anybody can walk past, whether they're a national, an independent, we are all consumers. So everybody who walks past, they are a consumer, and it's not just you are stood, you can't hide behind anything. You have to be prepared for every question. So where are you now at 7 months in? How many retailers are you in, and any names or anyone you want to share?
With you, go on.
So we counted, we're in about 26 independent retailers here within the UK and Republic of Ireland. So our furthest retailers away are in Cork, in Republic of Ireland, or in Aberdeen. I'm not going to shout them out individually because I'll ultimately miss one and then get in trouble. And then spread across the country. A lot of that comes from kind of word of mouth and contacting them and retailers at Top Drawer,
Yeah.
And we are about to launch with on a global deal with one of the biggest British retailers there is.
Fantastic. It's inspirational, what can be achieved. What tips would you give to people who are starting out of how they start approaching retailers, whether they be an independent or whether they be a national?
Rodrick, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can. So I think with every startup, they just need to have a vision to where their brand, they need to have an end goal. I mean, it's always going to be an uphill climb from the very beginning. There's not a straight path to success. You have to be patient and research. Research is the key to understand your market, your product or your service, and really live and breathe what you're trying to bring to the market. Because without sort of any research and vision, there's no quick answer to kind of getting into retail. Also, utilize your networks and contacts. I know that's cliche, like you hear that everywhere, but it's such a big factor. Like experiencing with Top Drawer, speaking to one person, that could be a life-changing conversation.
Yeah.
And speaking to someone who is probably just a security guard next door to you, and they'll be like, oh, I know that person that could connect you to someone else, that could be another conversation that would lead you to another path that could open up doors for other things. So never close your doors. Keep humble and always open up where you can, and take the information like a sponge, I would say, and just keep on growing.
Yeah,
My honest
that's
advice.
awesome.
Yeah.
I think my advice to anybody starting out that wanted to get into retail was don't launch too early. Have figured out whether your product is ready for retail before launching. We've met a lot of people along the way, some who are friends now. Rodrick and I are quite friendly and will kind of offer advice to anyone. Whether they take it or not is up to them. If they ask, we're not very forward at kind of giving people information if they don't ask, or it's a fantastic idea. But we've met a lot of brands that tell us how incredible our progress has been over 7 months. And I will generally look at them and go, I can see why it's probably been a lot harder for them. And then maybe 3 years into their journey, I think it's because they may have great smells, they may have a great concept, but they've really not thought about how it would sit within a shelf of a retailer, especially if it's the same as 1,000 other brands. You can't rely on the fact that I'm as good as this big brand if you look like them, because you're not likely to get into the same retail shops that they're in, especially when they have a name. And
absolutely.
I mean, it's your market, right? It depends on how saturated it is, how competitive it is. You have to be one up against every other competitor in your space. So yes, you can drive a project or startup by passion, but is it fit for retail? That is the big question. Because I think you have to understand as well, at what level are you as a startup? Are you a startup as a hobby, or is the dream to get into retail? Because it's two different things, and your efforts and your stress levels get more and more and more when you're trying to get into retail. But if it's a hobby, then you have to understand that's as far as you can get. But then if you want to scale up, then you need to start doing more research, do your homework, and really understand the scope of your brand can be.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think just a good reminder, because we all see or read, and especially in the world of, flicking around on social media, what looks like the success stories and, oh, wow, they've, made that and that looks so amazing. I can do that. And obviously, we want to encourage anyone that can and to give it a go. But the reality is, in the background, there is a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of overwhelm, a lot of times that you think, oh God, why are we doing this again? And there's risk, there's investment that you have to make in it. And I think, obviously, as we know, we don't always see all of that, because that is not what people typically post on the square.
That happened a year before we actually launched. Well, it probably wasn't quite a year. It was probably about 7 months.
Yeah.
Where we had a conversation. It was like, it's not working. It's not working. It just doesn't feel right. And then the light bulb moment happened literally probably about 3 days after that. And went, there it is, there, that's it. And then it was full steam ahead.
That's amazing. And it probably, you need to be sent those kind of wobbles or whatever at times to go, actually, no, we want to push on with this. Like, we do have the belief in it to make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, you have shared so many insightful little nuggets just in that chat there. I am going to pick out some cards from our pack of really good conversations, because this obviously takes us to just all other areas of conversation. And obviously, you've not seen these. I've just pulled them out before the call. I think this one is actually, fabulous for you guys. And you can both answer it, or one each. It's up to you. But my question for you is, if you came with a warning label, what would it say?
Rodrick, you can take this one. Rodrick, you can take
Do you know what? That's so funny, because Lewis and I...
It's so relevant to what's going on right now.
Yeah.
I can see there's a total in-joke going on here. You two know.
Let's give a quick scenario of this story that's happened. So prior to this call, Lewis and I were talking about strategy for the brand, right? And I'm an advocate for doing things really like the clean aesthetic. I need to communicate the right look for the brand, and whereas Lewis has other views to it. So when it comes to the creative side, I have a slight process as the creative I am. I'm quite a perfectionist sometimes, an over strategic person, right? So if I had a warning sign, it would definitely be red. And then it would be, when it comes to design, I would put on my label, do not do anything that's not on brand. That's what I would do currently, right now as it stands. Do not do anything that's not on brand, and that's kind of like my motto in business is if you can't do anything on brand, and that's like such a red flag for me. I wouldn't invest my time in doing that.
Do you have anything, Lewis, if you came with a warning label that you want to share?
No, I'm going to just give another warning label from Rodrick. Yeah. So Rodrick has already told me that when we move into our new office, he's going to have a red light and a green light on the wall. And every time he doesn't want to talk to me, he's going to press red light, like that.
Yeah, like Squid Game. It's exactly like that.
Yeah. So it's gonna be red majority of the time, and then he'll start flicking it. He'll flick it green and red, and you'll start running across, and then have to
just
go
not
away.
answer me. So that's Rodrick's warning label: red light, green light.
Good. So I've got 2 more questions that we're going to do today. What was your biggest highlight from the last year?
Oh, that's a real difficult one. I feel like owning your own business is a bit of a roller coaster, and you have severe highs. And I'm not going to say severe lows, but kind of almost like the tires are a little bit stuck within the dirt. And then you have to walk away from it and then kind of come back and start the engine, and then it will just go straight through again. The biggest high. What's the biggest high, Rodrick? Like, there's been some amazing things that have happened to us. Amazing.
I think the biggest high, Lewis, for us is as a business.
Oh, I know what it is. Actually.
Go on.
So, first weekend of the Ideal Home Show, our trademark came through, and we were just like, this is the start of the future.
Yes.
So we'd submitted it quietly a few months back, and when it came through, it was tears time, more so than launching or selling our first Candlemeleon. We were like, right, so we're here. Like, that's
that was this year, right? But I mean, that I think in general though, that was a turning point for us to realize that we are registered, and it's like we take our wins, Amy, and we keep leveling up, right?
Yeah.
And every win that we take, we do a pat on the back. So what's next? But I think when we start realizing things like that, like the trademark in itself has come through with our brand name on it, with the term Heat Reactive Scented Candle on it, we're like, right, we are probably going to be I don't want to say it, but one of the first to actually do something like this. And it's like, right, we've got it trademarked. And that was a big achievement for us, because it was quite a battle to understand how to do it, especially this trademarking is not really
very complex.
Not really our thing. Like, we're just creatives, but we need to think in different areas of how to protect our business in general.
Milestone,
yeah. So that
and
was.
I think the reality, what you touched on, Lewis, as well, is that roller coaster element. There's highs, and then just getting on with like the. So if you mentioned that came through at the Ideal Home exhibition when you were exhibiting there, it's like, woohoo! Oh my God, this is amazing! This has come through. Oh, actually, come on, we need to get back on. We're talking with people. And,
that's literally like that. It's literally like every day, Henry. Yeah.
And we find same that world, and we have to remind ourselves, it is take that moment to celebrate every little win that comes, no matter how big or small. And I guess something we did actually, and this was more in our personal life, that we would put in a jar, just on a little piece of paper, anything that awesome had happened in our life, or that we'd done, or even if we'd just gone and had an amazing day in the sunshine or something like that. And then at the end of the year, we'd open up that jar and sit, on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, and look at all the things, read them out from the year, have a little go at doing that, write them all down, and then at the end of the year, it is a reminder of, oh my God, this is all the stuff that we've actually done.
I tell you, there is one coming up that I think will be the highlight of the century for us. We're Gift of the Year finalists. And so I think is it top 6 or top 5? I can't remember.
Fantastic.
Only fragrance brands in the UK for 2022-23. It would be really exciting to win something like that in your first year. It would be the icing on top of what's an already great chocolate cake, as it were.
Well, I will keep my fingers crossed for you. That would be absolutely amazing and would be very well deserved. So my third question is, what is the secret to a happy life?
Work life or normal life?
I've got 2 words: happy wife happy life. Literally, I honestly, a happy life. It really depends on how you define it. Every person's really different, right? Of what they want in their life. Having my wife, my son, family means a lot to me. And you know, the support network I have in order for me to do this and find a balance between business and family is what makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because it's not, at the end of the day, this is great. Like you're achieving all your goals and the success and you're moving with the times. But when you take a step back from the laptop and you're holding your son and you're spending those moments, that's what matters the most, because life's really precious.
Lewis, do you want to add anything to that, just as being our final question?
I think you could probably call me a little bit crazy, and I mean crazy in the nicest way. Like, the small things make me have a happy life. I'm quite a jovial, happy person, and sometimes that's probably quite annoying for people because I'm ever the optimist. But this can happen, and this can happen, and that can happen. But I'm also a realist in my brain deep down. So that battle between, no, come on, we can do this, versus we can never do this. No, come on, we can do this. We can never do this, I think keeps me in a happy state of mind a lot of the time.
Thank you so much for telling us all of your journey so far, answering those questions. I do like to ask everybody on the podcast to answer this question. If you could ask any person, dead or alive, a question, who would it be and what would you ask them?
Shall I go first?
Go on, Lewis, go on.
I think mine is going to sound cliche, but a bit left turning. Oh, I don't even know what the right word is there. A bit kind of off to one side. I'd ask Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, off-piste. I'd ask Marilyn Monroe, are diamonds really a girl's best friend? And the reason why I say that is because we're always chasing, all I know I am in life, more. I can do better. That I don't think that if I got the diamonds, I'd be happy or truly satisfied, not happy. I'd want more than that. And so is the pinnacle diamonds? I don't think so.
Very good to hear that. And what about you, Rodrick?
I'm going to set the tone. with this question. With this. So I don't know how this would be perceived, but a little bit of a story before I tell you the question. So back to the question earlier on how Candlemeleon started. There was a chain of events that made me do this business. In 2020, I lost my father to COVID. And I don't want everyone's all joining now on the call. I know, but yeah, I don't want everyone to be all sad because we're all in a good mood. So he inspired me to drive my passion and really get out there. So he was actually one of the first bus drivers who passed away in the UK. I was on news. I was on BBC News. I told his story, and yeah. So when you sent me that question last night, Amy, when you told me, I was like, oh my god, I would love to ask him, are you proud of me, Dad?
Oh.
Yeah. And I would love to hear that straight from him, hear those words, because I think that would summarize. That would literally just be the icing on the cake for me. But he passed away. He's given me the catalyst to push on. But I would love to reconnect with him to ask that one question. But yeah, I don't want to say I don't want to put Debbie down.
That would be amazing. Apart from if he then said, well, what does a heat reactive candle do?
I think continue the conversation.
He's more likely to ask, what's that word?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Melon.
Thank you for sharing that with us, because that is a particularly personal thing for us, where this whole Really Good Conversations project stemmed from. It was when Alex lost his grandfather a couple of years ago, and that realization of, gosh, we spend this time with family and friends, but we actually don't get a chance to either ask those direct questions or find out about stories. Or we've asked some just quite broad questions in those three that we played before, that they don't really just come up in normal conversation, really. So yeah, that's really lovely for you to share that with us, and I do appreciate that as well. You've done an amazing ride. It's been so just fascinating to talk to you. I could talk to you all evening long, absolutely, and I can't wait to see what you do next. How can people listening connect with you guys, find you guys?
We can find us on candlemeleon.com. We also have our Instagram that we are very active on. at Candlemeleon.
Perfect. Well, I'll make sure I include those links in the show notes. A really big thank you for taking the time to chat with me. It's been awesome. And yeah.
Amy?
Yes?
This was a really good conversation.
Oh,
Thank you.
why, thank you. I'm glad you thought so. And I have thought of it too. But brilliant. Thank you again, guys. Really appreciate your time. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to check out the show notes for more information on today's guests. And if really good conversations are your thing, hit subscribe and join us next time for more business journeys, insights and banter.